What's up guys, Muller Reaver here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and today we are talking Fire Knight Hard Stage 10. Now we will be showcasing the team above me, however, the other thing that I want to do in this is answer the question everybody's been asking, which is Fire Knight overtuned? And the short answer to that is yes. In nearly every aspect, this dungeon is severely overtuned. And we will take a look at that as we go through a run or two. So first, let's do that. I'm going to stop and start as we go through here, just so we can explain a few things about why this is such a crazy dungeon. So let's get the run started here. Now, the first thing you're going to see is Mythrala and Stag Knight are both going to open with their A2s in order to get the debuffs so we can clear the wave. So we've got Hex, we've got decreased defense, decreased attack. Now this wave isn't actually too difficult. Typically, if anybody gets to take a turn here, it's the Venuses, and they're not really going to one-shot anybody. However, we are tuning our damage output on this wave because we do want to get the A2s back for both Mythrala and Stag Knight, so we need them to each take 2 additional turns. That way they are ready for the second wave. So you can see they just go through here pretty quickly. Everybody does have Eagle Eye, so we're reducing turn meters as we get a chance, or most of them have Eagle Eye. One more Venus down. And on to Wave 2. Now, Wave 2 is far more tricky. Again, we are going to open with Mythrala's A2 and Stag Knight's A2. We'll go through all the presets and all of this stuff later. I just want to talk about why this is tricky. And the reason is over here we've got Riho. Now, Riho cleanses the first debuff that she gets. So with opening with Mythrala, or having Mythrala go first, she puts the Hex on, which Riho will then cleanse, and then Stag Knight is able to put that decrease attack and decrease defense on, which allows us to kill the waves faster. If this wave gets to take a turn, Riho can one-shot Coldheart, no problem. Also, the Temesias with the stuns and their HP burns, they do a pretty big amount of damage if they get to take a turn as well. However, we can go through this wave pretty quickly, assuming we can control that Riho. So we'll go through again. Again, we open A2s so that we get our debuffs off. You can see the Hex got cleansed. We did miss the decrease attack, but that's not a big deal. And again, we are also getting the cooldowns back for Mythrala and Stag Knight for the boss wave. So just a little bit more work on Riho here. So now that we are on to the boss, boss is a giant pain in the butt. We are not going to get this 21 hits down before he gets his first turn. So we're going to go through here and we're just going to buff everybody up with all of our turns. And you can see right there that we actually did not get Mythrala's A2 back, which is why Coldheart died. However, we do have the Revive on Death from Cardiel, which saves us if that happens. We got some counterattacks, so we're down to 14. And now we'll be able to open up the shield here. Maybe. There we go. Decrease defense, decrease attack from Stag Knight. That's going to help keep us alive. We do still have the increased defense from Mythrala on Coldheart, so we should not die here. This is one of the examples of how this can go real south real fast. We do heavily rely on the counterattacks from Valkyrie as well as the shields. We can also see that we did not place heal reduction yet on the boss, so every time the boss takes a turn, the boss is going to heal, which is going to draw this fight out a bit. Still taking down the shields. Stag Knight, decrease defense, decrease attack. If we do not land... So the 3 things are here are keeping us alive. We've got the decrease attack on the boss. We've got increased defense on all our champs. That's from Mythrala. And we've got the shields from Valkyrie. Pretty much we need 2 of these 3 things, or the boss is going to one-shot us. If he doesn't have decrease attack, he can easily wallop us. If we don't have increased defense or the shield, and the boss doesn't have the decreased attack, we can get one shot pretty quick. So we are kind of maintaining that survivability while going through this. The poisons that Mythrala puts up actually does a lot of work. You can see every time the boss takes a turn, the poisons are doing 116k. You can see Mythrala, or Coldheart almost died there. And we just keep going. So the counterattacks from Valkyrie are incredibly important. The ally attack from Cardiel, incredibly important. Every single buff that we are putting up here and debuff is important in order for us to stay alive and even complete this dungeon. So as crazy as this comp is, because of all these things, it's not 100%. And I don't know that you can make a 100% team because of how many instances of getting 3%ed are available on all of this. So we cleared it again. Don't worry about the time on that one. That was because we were stopping and starting. Let's go through one time full speed just to let it go through here. So we've got all our debuffs. We are cleansing or clearing the wave pretty quickly. Again, got to make sure that Stagnite and Mythrala take enough turns so that they are reset for the second wave. And there we go. Riho will cleanse the Hex, and then the decreased defense and attack from Stagnite will land. So we should make it through this wave pretty easily. And then on to the boss. So hopefully this time we got Mythrala's 8-2, so we've got increased attack and increased defense now. We'll get the counterattacks put up. So now we'll take out about half of those ticks on the shield with the counterattacks, and then the other half here with the ally attack. Now we've got our heal reduction up on the boss. Throwing up a couple poisons. Stagnite should get our decreased defense, decreased attack. We got the Heart Seekers from Coldheart doing some work. Now the boss is going to take a turn. We do still have counterattacks up on everybody but Mythrala. That just is what it is. We actually have the position order the way it is, because if Stagnite places the decreased speed on the boss, he will actually lose his counterattack too, because he'll get to take an extra turn. So we avoid putting the decreased speed on the boss on that initial wave of opening him up. That way we keep our counterattacks on as many champs as we can. So shield almost open again. 2 minutes in so far. Pretty smooth run on this one. It looks like he'll close up one more time. Oh, nope, that's it. 219. Not too shabby. So you can see the poison damage from Mythrala really doing some work, along with the Hex through the waves. Coldheart with their Heart Seekers. Cardiel doing some damage as well. Let's get rid of that. All right, so let's go take a look at the champs, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so now that we've gone through all the pits and perils of the dungeon in itself and all the many ways that that boss can easily one-shot us and end it, even with the team that we have, let's take a look at the team. And the first thing you're going to notice is it is not an easily accessible team. We've got Cardiel being arguably one of the best overall champs in the game. We've got Valkyrie, the only champ in the game that puts up team counterattack and has a healthy shield to go with it. We've got Mythrala, who is accessible to everybody via the Hydra. Coldheart, everybody loves a good Coldheart, and Stagnite. So Valkyrie and Cardiel are pretty much mandatory to get any sort of speed out of runs on Fire Knight 10. You need that counterattack. You need the ally attack from Cardiel. Also, Cardiel provides the heals, which is going to help keep everybody topped off so that if something does happen, like the decreased attack falls off or your increased defense falls off, something like that, that you don't just get one-shotted because you're low health. As far as the builds go, not only are the champs required crazy, the builds themselves are crazy. So we've got Cardiel here in Reflex. That is to try to get the cooldown on his A2 on that ally attack, so that we can do that as often as possible. He is sitting at a healthy 338 speed. He is crit capped with as much damage as we could get into him with a reflex set. We also have a couple of refresh accessories on him. As far as masteries go, he is down to War Master, as well as we've got Cycle of Magic again, so we can get to that A2 as often as possible. He is one of the only ones that does not have the Eagle Eye. If we could get over here, that might be useful. However, his healing is pretty important as well. For Valkyrie, she is also in a reflex set because we need her counterattack essentially at a 2-turn cooldown. Because we're, for the most part, on a 1-to-1 with the boss. Every time we take 2 turns, our counterattacks fall off, and we need those counterattacks in order to open up the shield. So we've got reflex on her in order to get that 2-turn cooldown. She is at a healthy 267, crit capped with as much damage as we can get on her. Her turn meter reduction on her A1 is actually helpful for the waves. The waves do not have much resistance at all, so she actually only needs about 160 accuracy in order to land the decreased turn meter on her A1s. So another thing to keep in mind as far as trying to get through the waves. As far as for mastery, she is also down to War Master. We do have her as Eagle Eye as well. Also the Cycle of Magic to cycle back to her counterattack. Next up, we've got Mithrala. Mithrala is just in random gear. She is sitting at 332 speed. Now, all of these speeds are an actual tune. I guess I should preface this with this team was actually created by Pavo. Pavo being a mastermind of the turn meter. This is set minimum speeds that we need in order to hit the tune that he created. And then it's about that balancing of damage and speed that we need. So she has 386 accuracy, enough to land all of her debuffs. And then again, fully crit capped and as much damage as we can get into her. For masteries, we also have War Master on her, down to Eagle Eye. We probably actually should Cycle of Magic. I don't know why it's not. Oversight? Anyway, Stag Knight, also just in random gear. He is at 331 speed, so this is that balance of Mithrala going before Stag Knight, particularly on that second wave to address Riho. So he is 1 speed less than Mithrala. Also crit capped with enough accuracy to land debuffs and as much damage as we can get on him, which is not a whole lot. Next up is Coldheart. Coldheart is, of course, in a reflex set again. That way we can cycle around to her Heartseeker as often as possible to get those max HP hits. She is 292 speed, enough crit rate to get the Heartseeker to land. We don't necessarily need her A1s to do all that much damage. Enough accuracy to land for her. And as far as masteries go, we've got her down to Giant Slayer because she's going to be doing the A1s the majority of the time. Also Cycle of Magic, also Evil Eye. I don't think I showed Stag Knight. Stag Knight's down to War Master. Again, Cycle of Magic, Evil Eye. All of that in order to do his A2 as often as possible. So now if we look at the presets, we've got Cardiel doing only A1s through the waves. And then on the boss, he's going to open with that A2, and then we're going to shut it off. And then his A3 is the ally attack. I might have been calling that his A2 the whole time. It's his A3 is the counterattack. His A2 is the block revives and revive on, or block debuffs and revive on death. That we only need to do on that opener. For Stagnite, we're opening A2 and then never using it again on both the waves. That is so we can cycle back and have it ready for the next stage. And then we open A1 on the boss and then prioritize that A2 as well. Valkyrie, she's doing nothing through the waves and then just prioritizing the counterattack on the boss. Coldheart, opening with the AoE. We're not using her Heartseeker at all. And then she can use the AoE as much as she would like on the second wave. And then not use it at all come the boss stage. Mithrala, again, open A2, nothing else. Open A2, nothing else. And then we are still turning off her A3. Opening with the A2, and then just doing it as normal priority. Alright, I think that is about it. We will watch one more fight. This is a pretty consistent team. However, again, it is not 100%. Even with all of these crazy builds, the crazy champions, it is still able to be defeated. We can still die. Runs about, I'd say, 90%. So we're going to fail about 1 in 10 or so. But that's it. Let me know what you guys think. Have you guys tried Fire Knight 10 yet? What kind of teams are you running? Are you going for speed runs? Are you just trying to clear it? Are you working on a lower level just because it's far less overtuned? What are your thoughts on this, guys? Leave me some comments. Hit the like and subscribe, all the YouTubey things. And we'll see you guys in the next video. I'll get myself out of the way. We'll watch the end of this run, and we will see you guys later.